I hope you have unlimited text messaging. By Miss Carr. Chapter 85. Interlude 17. I really hate our board of directors. Tony, go to sleep. Tony heard his boyfriend say from beside him, shirtless and one arm wrapped around him. Can't. Looking at pictures of us making out, we are adorable and hot. That's when Tony showed Steve the image, which was a mistake because of course he took the phone. Give that back. Tony reached over, but Steve kept it out of his grasp. Tony, it's 2:49 a.m. You need to go to sleep. Playing with your cell phone is not helping. I'm just trying to calm my mind down enough to sleep. My body is still on Manhattan time. I don't think reading the tweets of people who think we're going to hell will accomplish that. I know that. Friday is actually blocking me from Twitter and Tumblr right now. I'm looking at what Yo-Yo sent me. I'm having at least a few of these my wall of Steve. Just as Tony said this, Tony's cell gave the "Pepper is trying to get a hold of you" chime, indicating that she just sent him a message. Considering Pepper understands time zones better than him, this probably wasn't a good thing. The fact that Steve actually handed the phone back over to him after reading the message was also not a good sign. You need to respond to Pepper, he tells Tony. I thought you wanted me to go to sleep, Tony asked, confused and a little worried. Just read her message, Steve said just as the phone chimed again with a second message from Pepper. At that point, he had no choice but to start reading. The big boss. I'm sure you're either sleeping because it is 3 a.m. where you are, or more likely preoccupied with your boyfriend, but you should probably know the board is not happy, or rather unhappier. They were already unhappy with moving most operations upstate, or back into California. Big boss. But now they are talking to the lawyers about locking you out again, unhappy. Me. I'm not that busy with Steve, mostly because of medical restrictions, and he's such a Boy Scout that he made me respond. Me. Seriously? That again? When was the last time they were happy with me? Oh wait, when they found out how much money we were getting by leasing off most of the tower and moving upstate where the real estate is more reasonable, and we probably won't have to worry about aliens. Me. They're worried about the stock prices, aren't they? They're overreacting. People being reminded that I am a member of the LGBTQIQ community shouldn't hurt things that much. I mean, there's a few world leaders here that don't want to sit next to me right now, but whatever. The big boss. Among other things, they're happy that you did it on a Saturday, but they're worried about what the stocks will do come Monday. I think they're hoping for something big to happen in the interim that will make people forget about it. Me. I hope it's not another alien invasion, at least not one that is more than 2 blue guys crashing in Utah. I hate the board. The big boss. I know. Me. Can you just tell them to fuck off? You know I don't really care what they think about this, at all. It's my life, and if I want to have a boyfriend, I will have a boyfriend. Really, you can't do better for PR than a boyfriend who helps the sick and needy all over the world. The big boss. Which is the cover? Me. Not anymore. He's going to be doing some of the Jarvis Foundation stuff in sub-Saharan Africa. At least I can trust him not to try to kill me. The big boss. Again? Me. If he wanted me dead, I would be. The big boss. The board wants to call a meeting. They tried to do that through your assistant, but she pretended not to understand English. Only Perez is fluent, and knew better. Me. I knew only speaking to each other in Spanish at board meetings would pay off. Perez is also the only one who is not an absolute asshole. She is our token good member. Why didn't we kick out all of Obadiah's cronies? The big boss. Because Phil was taken off the investigation and replaced with somebody who was probably Hydra. Me. Probably. We have people watching R&D, but we neglected the board. We should rectify that. The big boss. The security department is working on it. Me. Apparently not fast enough. The board knew this was going to happen eventually. You know, since the sex tape scandal right after Mom and Dad died almost 25 years ago. So I don't know why they are calling emergency board meetings now. PR has been working on this for the last week. There was an email. I know because Yo-Yo made me read it. Twice. The big boss. Obviously they didn't read their email. Actually, I'm not sure if some of them can actually open their email. Me. Except for Perez. She is the smart one, apparently. The big boss. Honestly, according to Perez, when your gay sex tape came out in 92, Obadiah told the members that were around at the time, including Perez's father, that it was a youthful indiscretion and a grief reaction to their death. It really didn't mean anything. Me. He always was a snake oil salesman, wasn't he? The big boss. He was the best at what he did. He fooled all of us. Although it was probably easy considering you haven't been publicly with a man since the tape. Privately, we both know better. Me. Because you were really great at escorting everybody out in the next morning. I don't think I ever paid you enough for doing that. I'm sorry for that. The big boss. No, you did not. And apology accepted. Me. So the real question is, why are they so freaked out now? The big boss. I think they're freaking out because this time it's obviously a serious relationship. This is not a fling. He was on your arm at a Stark Industries-sponsored international event to raise awareness about wildlife trafficking with various heads of state. That shows that you're serious, and serious relationships bother them. Me. Which was true even when it was you. The big boss. Then there's the pictures of that kiss that are everywhere. Me. I was trying to keep that from happening. I asked Yo-Yo not to post anything like that. The big boss. I appreciate the consideration, but the event was open press. It was all over Twitter within about 10 minutes. Me. Damn it, why did I sign off on that? The big boss. You didn't. You delegated, and Jane felt that it was a clever idea. Me. I have to stop doing that. How much damage? The big boss. At least 3 outlets accidentally reported that you're dating Chris Evans. Me. Better than the alternative. The big boss. That would be the 2 outlets that think that you're dating Keno Reeves. Me. It's the beard and the new hair color. It looks sexy and totally worth the beer rash, but he does not look like Mr. Clean-Cut All-American Boy Scout anymore. Thank Thor. The big boss. I do want to know about what's going on in your life, but we need to set up boundaries. Specific sex activities are things I don't want to know about at all, including but not limited to rashes and STIs. Me. Same courtesy. I don't hate your boyfriend, but I am still in the adjustment phase. The big boss. I would also like to take this moment to ask you not to do a new sex tape. Me. I kept not planning on it, at least not intentionally. But cameras are everywhere now. We've swept for bugs twice in the last 2 days. Thankfully, the new Travel Friday program can disable everything. The big boss. That's all I ask. I'm also not surprised. There's going to be a meeting around 12 p.m. your time. Me. How nice. The big boss. And you will be participating. Me. I will be sure to have Yo-Yo make time in my schedule. The big boss. Somehow, I don't believe you. Me. Are there reactions I should be concerned with? The big boss. Happy is upset. He called me. That's been happening a lot lately. Me. Happy has been mad at me a lot recently. The big boss. He's upset that your bodyguard is interfering with his job. Me. Because his original plan was dangerous. He thought it was an innovative idea to send the entire toy chest to the new facility at the same time without a whole army of security personnel on board. The big boss. He didn't tell me that when he tried to explain what was going on. Me. Of course he didn't, because he did the same thing with me. I tried to explain to him after what happened in Baltimore it wasn't a feasible plan. If Happy had told me the entire plan, I wouldn't have signed off on it. I should have never taught him that it's better to ask for forgiveness than permission. The big boss. Well, that's one of your favorite strategies. I will talk to him once I'm done talking to you. However, we have a more immediate problem. He knows who Stefan really is. Me. Shit. Me. How is he taking it? The big boss. He wants to come back to LA once the toy chest has made its way to the new Avenger house. Me. I was hoping he would stay because we're going to have to send Yo-Yo out to you eventually. Stuckums thought that with so many other people with powers running around New York, maybe we need some West Coast Avengers. With half of SI still being in Malibu, my assistant was a prime candidate for a job transfer. The big boss. He has a point. You could come out for a few months. I'm sure Dummy misses the sun. Me. I was thinking about spending more time at the house in Malta. Although, is there any way I can get Kevin back? The big boss. Because it would be easier for Stefan to come visit you in Malta, especially since they've left the EU. I'll see what I can do about Kevin, although that means I'll lose an assistant. Me. Thank you. Yes, it would be easier for Honeybear in Malta, but that's not the only reason. I don't necessarily need to be in the tower when the happy couple is reunited. Besides, I'm the king of teleworking. The big boss. You do tend to be productive regardless of where you are, when you're in the mood to be productive. The big boss. I see that Clint is now back in the good graces of the U.S. government. Of course, the announcement was drowned by the Tony Stark is now gay stories circulating everywhere. Me. Because of course my love life is so much more important than anything of the actual importance. I'm so glad I'm going to be in a place where the press can't get too close for a few more days. The big boss. Yo-Yo mentioned something about you coming back Thursday because you're going to be leaving early to avoid certain people. Me. No, Sugar Pie gets to leave Wednesday. I have to play nice Thursday, and then I have a few meetings in France, and yes, I promise not to touch the wine. So I think I get back to the country about a week from today. The big boss. Maybe it's for the best. The board might be calmed down by then. Me. Do you really believe that? The big boss. No. Me. By next Saturday, everything will be upstate, and Happy will obviously be on a plane back to Malibu, so I can avoid his wrath. The big boss. He'll probably be on a plane tomorrow. Me. He said he was staying until everything was moved upstate. It's going to take a week to do things as planned. There is a decoy plane flying out from the tower in probably half an hour then. Everything will be carted upstate by armed trucks that look like innocent milk trucks driven by trained agents. The big boss. He said he would be done tonight. Me. Shit! I bet he went back to the old plan just because he's mad at me for dumping you for Captain America. The old Captain America. I need to go make some phone calls. The big boss. Keep me updated. Me. Will do.